love this song for so many reasons because of all of the people whose music I have studied and who I've loved over the years involved in that. Just in the piece that you heard, we had Bobby McFerrin, we had Al Jarreau, we had Take Six. Sarah Vaughan was coming on doing some scatting as we were fading it out. Ella Fitzgerald, the just talent that Quincy Jones is always able to assemble on projects that he works with are so significant. And my roommates now joke, Kayla J, just so you know, my college roommates, when you get the opportunity to do these countdowns like you do on social media, they were convinced that I was going to name this as my favorite album of all time because they would leave the room because they would get sick of me playing it constantly on repeat. This is one that I did not take out of my CD player for probably the better part of a year.
Wow. Okay.
At all. It was in the changer and ready to hit play at all times. And so, yes, it is a personal favorite of mine, ladies and gentlemen. I love it a lot.
I feel like Back on the Block in '88. I feel like I have that on vinyl somewhere. Or not. Yeah, it might be worth some money.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be worth a little bit of something now.
Some of them records, they either go for a lot or very, very little.
Well, I mean, but there's so many people who have passed on since the recording of that album, and so I would think it would be valuable just as a capsule.
Well, you know, well, just aside, we'll get back to Quincy, but yeah, just aside, like, you know, Speech is coming. Speech and David Banner are going to be at Kindred on Monday.
Oh, that's interesting.
And yeah, they do a talk show at Warm Daddies. I was like, look, okay, maybe I can get a copy of the first Arrested Development record on vinyl.
Oh, on vinyl.
On vinyl. So you get it signed, right? That vinyl goes for a lot. You know, because it was right at the cusp of the CD to vinyl age. There weren't very many people buying copies on vinyl. That thing. But yeah, you know, I guess Quincy was like what the DJ Khaled of his time.
Boo. Boo.
Well, in terms of being able to bring all these superstar talents together.
Y'all see me, right? Boo. How do you describe somebody who actually plays an instrument, although the elders that he worked with during the jazz era was like he was never good. He was good looking. And he had great arrangement ideas, which is how he got gigs playing trumpet. But the masters were always like, Quincy was just kind of adequate on the trumpet, but he was a great arranger, and that's why we like working with him. But somebody who plays an instrument, who knows master musicians and has worked with master musicians to DJ Khaled, really?
Well, Khaled, he's got a better Twitter and Instagram feed, Khaled.
Yeah, okay. So that's the measure. That's the measure that we're doing master musicians. I'm just saying,
you know, if you put Khaled next to Quincy in terms of Instagram followers, there's no comparison.
Quincy is also in his 80s.
You know, I'm
saying.
Okay, well. I figure
there's a generational gap in how people are using
so
technology.
You're saying it's apples and oranges, the having a longevity of a career is Quincy Jones and
or what your actual skill is. DJ, I doubt very seriously that Quincy Jones would consider himself to be a master DJ.
What, that Rihanna song? It's brilliant. He took a sample of Santana and put Rihanna on it and put a skimpy dress on her. And
he does these things to provoke me, ladies and gentlemen. Strange. You all know this. Hi, Bill. Bill's checking us out from Australia.
Oh, that's what's up. Hey, Bill.
I just happened to see it scroll on the screen.
So yeah, no comparison. Until Khaled writes the theme song to Sanford and Son, and please don't bring Sanford and Son back. Until he does something like that, or Mannix or something, then I guess is second place.
Thank you. Until he scores The Color Purple, until he writes, produces an album like Thriller or Bad or Off the Wall. No.
Okay, well, yeah, we the best at this, but you know, also Quincy did all that without having to take his shirt off. You've never seen Quincy bare-breasted
And
once.
Do people want to see Khaled with his shirt off?
He's always got his shirt off.
But do they want? That's not the point. I'm saying, did they
want? He lives in
Miami.
That? He needs his shirt off.
Are the people asking for Khaled to get naked? No.
Look out, you know, kids today. I don't know. But yeah, so Quincy got $9.4 million out of the Michael Jackson estate.
Indeed.
He was trying to get 30, and he argued everything from elder abuse to the fact that he was over 65 when he signed the contract. He just wanted to get paid. And he went in there and he fought for his money, and he got about a third of it, of what he wanted. And the arrogance of the Michael Jackson estate, that's what kills me.
Well, I think, you know, there's a lot to be said for, and I say this all the time, you don't have to have money in order for your family to show out. Or for these kinds of proceedings to get ugly,
right?
In terms of how it shakes out for who gets what, and I think that there was so much upheaval because Michael was preparing for a tour when he passed away, that all of the things that are shaken out after that with what rights the estate retains and what rights they've sold back to Sony to get some of this money in the first place and all of that, you know, part of Quincy's his beef or his legitimate claim is really more against Sony than it is against the estate of Michael Jackson. And so I'd be really interesting to see the written information in the decision about how they came up with the 9.4 million as opposed to the 30.
Well, it was a jury, but I mean, apparently Quincy was saying he got 18 million from the estate, but they argued that it was a gift, that he wasn't entitled to it due to his contract and all this stuff. But you know, keep in mind, this is not the only person that's suing the Michael Jackson estate for you know, who was in arrears with Michael Jackson. The whole reason why we've never seen a full DVD of the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller is because that was a deal between him, Michael Jackson, MJJ, and John Landis.
Right.
John Landis has never gotten paid off that movie from the time they made it, and he's been beefing and trying, you know. So it's just sort of waiting that out,
right?
You know, but you know, the estate's moving forward. There's going to be a Bubbles movie on Netflix, and there's going to be a Halloween special this year based around Michael Jackson's music and stuff like that. So they're finding all kinds of ways to just pick at the bones of the Michael Jackson estate to make sure that Quincy continues to get paid.
Yeah, well, listen, there's a lot. There's a lot of money that has been made, and a lot of money that has been, many people would say, misappropriated. And people have to also remember that this is during the time when we were satisfied with saying there was a big 8 of the record companies, and there's been so much upheaval around owning masters and consolidation of these big companies, and a revolutionizing of the music industry, that the way people thought they were going to get paid forever and ever, amen, 30 years ago is vastly different from the way it works now. So you know, all of these contracts were caught up in that moment. Yeah,
well, clearly there's more money to be made in terms of licensing something as opposed to putting out new music, which is what the fans really want. They just want to hear Michael's voice. They just want to hear more, like, stop holding back all these unreleased tracks that supposedly exist, you know. But apparently it's very apparent to me that a good reason why a lot of those Thriller outtakes and bad outtakes aren't out is because of the ongoing thing. So hopefully this will clear up a lot of things. And
I would just like to say to those of you in the listening audience, and you know that my crates run deep, after Michael passed, one of my music fairies made sure that I got 10 CDs worth of largely unreleased Michael Jackson material. And so on his birthday this year, which is also regrettably the 12th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, but on August 29th, we are going to have a listening session as a part of the program that day, and you'll get a chance to hear some of that. Okay.
Well, I know we're up against a break, but I do want to mention the fact, all right, so apparently I was outnumbered last weekend. You know, everybody, girls trip. As I was going to say, as Mike gets into his true confession mode, 30 million, $31 million opening. It's made 42 so far, and
yes, but 31 million opening weekend because women in droves went out to go see that film,
to see Girls Trip,
and have by and large enjoyed themselves immensely. So Mike was being a hater, and he has been vastly outnumbered. Look, you know, in our enjoyment of the film.
Look, people, y'all go see a Emoji Movie too. You know, that's opening this weekend. Y'all can go see it. It's just
Kayla J can go see it.
It's just no desire. It's just not. It's got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like, I mean, at least Girls Trip got an 82% like. You know, I was just in the minority of the dislikes on Girls Trip. I mean, you know, like I just feel sorry for all the people that are going to have to drag their kids to the Emoji Movie and can't sneak out into the next theater.
I feel the parents should have a hard conversation with the little kids and be like, no, this is one I'm putting my foot down. No. because no.
But Hollywood likes those real easy things.
What I hope emerges from the vast female enjoyment of Girls Trip is that there will now be many more opportunities for sister friends to go on vacation together. Not just Essence Festival, but all around the world, that people would see that experience and say, if they aren't already doing it, that I've been missing out on that. And instead of buying 50 million different pairs of stiletto heels and nice bags and what have you, they will invest in travel to see the world and experience it together and build those memories.
You got all that from Girls Trip.
I'm saying I do it. So I'm not preaching to the choir as far as I'm concerned. I have sister friends.
Your Flossie Posse or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying I have sister friends that it is a phone call, and if we can coordinate calendars, that there's never an argument. We all have active passports. We get on a plane and we go anywhere around the world together because we love each other and we know that we will have a good time together in traveling. A lot of people talk themselves out of it for any number of reasons, like they can't afford it. And I'm saying if you did 2 pair less of those really, really expensive shoes, you'd be able to take yourself on a nice trip.
Okay,
that's all.
So, all right. Okay. All right. And you may run into Dexter St. Jock.
You know what? See, that's Mike showing his age, because there are a whole bunch of people tuned in right now who have no idea where that comes from.
Well, that's the point. For those who do, Dexter St. Jock.
Yes, but it was lovely.
Yeah, made a lot of money.
But
for those who don't like the ratchetness, don't need the love and hip hop motion picture that Girls Trip.
I think that's an unfair comparison.
It is all ratchet. They lift so much from popular culture. It's not funny. So that's how the world is, I guess. So why not put a movie out like it? That's fine. So Incredible Jessica James came out today on Netflix, so you can stay home. This is a really smart independent film. It premiered at Sundance, starring Jessica Williams from The Daily Show, and really well written. I watched it this morning.
Yes,
very
Black
easy.
Female writer from The Daily Show, one of the youngest writers that they had on staff.
Yeah, very, very quick watch, and just breezy, very lightweight. I mean, certainly a perfect film for Netflix, in my opinion. But definitely she carries the whole movie, and she's very independent-minded. I guess almost like a Blurred kind of person, and she's had a breakup with Lakeith Stanfield, who we know from Selma and Atlanta.
I'll know him when I see him. It's one of those names that I know, but making sure that I'm matching it with the right face.
He was in Selma. He played the guy that got shot that started.
Okay, yes,
skinny guy. So he's in Atlanta. He's like the stoner boy, the stoner friend of the main rapper.
Yeah, and I don't watch that show, so
he's one of my favorites, and he's also featured in a movie called Lasercism that'll be a Black Star next week, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
And Crown Heights, which is coming up as well. But he's so he's the ex, and then Chris Dowd, the Irish actor, is the sort of divorcee who gets sort of set up on a blind date. And there's a lot of references to like pop culture, like the opening sequence is like a Tinder date gone wrong.
Okay.
that completely establishes Jessica's character as very sort of an iconoclast, and you get to go on a ride. So it's again Black female empowerment, and it doesn't really dig deep into any real issues, but it does touch on what it's like in terms of like trying to move forward or move back if you have an ex, and just the feelings that are involved and stuff like that. So it's a very sweet romantic comedy on Netflix, Incredible Jessica James. I would recommend it. So.
Well, there's one of your recommendations for today's program, ladies and gentlemen.
The Anti-Girls Trip. Everybody stays home in this one.
We're gonna take.
It made them $40 million. I'm not hating.
I'm just saying that you refuse to see why women were going to enjoy themselves in this film because you wanted to classify it as ratchet. And I'm saying women needed an exhale.
There's a lot of ratchet women out there. Tiffany Haddish, shout out to her. She's got a new show with Tracy Morgan, created by Jordan Peele. So
nice. Well, let's talk more about that. But we have got to. Thank you, Michelle. She's like, come on, Mike, it was funny. So with that, we got to take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk to cinematographer extraordinaire. Director, but specifically about his new project that is a whole different take on interacting with this filmmaking world.
Blew up Twitter, blew up Everybody's excited about this. Matthew Cherry is going to be joining us.
Matthew Cherry on Real Black Radio right after this.
Matthew help him get to a $75,000 goal, and
he sees
like
that
the next day it was like, well, I don't know, but we can still help you get to this $200,000 goal.
Yes.
So, but tell folks about it.
Yeah, no, Hair Love is basically an animated short film. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen a lot of these Disney, Pixar movies where a lot of times they'll play like a short film before the main feature.
Yes.
With, Finding Dory. They had a short film called Piper in front of it. Mm-hmm. So kind of in that same vein, like a 4 to 5 minute piece, but one that focuses on a African-American father trying to do his daughter's hair for the first time. And, hilarity kind of ensues. And to me, the project just really is important because...
How did this all blow up?
I think, honestly, man, I'm not going to lie to you. A lot of this was already kind of planned out for like about a year. Not necessarily the project and doing it through Kickstarter and everything, but just like kind of being way more conscious of like building up a following on social media, Twitter in particular, just because it's, probably you get the most immediate response from there. I could tweet something right now and be like, hey, name 5 things that are blah, 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 and like I'll get 5 responses within a minute. And I think once you have like a certain number of followers, you really have that great ability to kind of interact. And so, I was just always really conscious of like, man, like I really got to get my numbers up because I feel like if I could get it to a certain level, maybe like at least 50,000 followers, 75, to 100, that I should be able to tap into these people. And if I do another Kickstarter campaign, and if it's a project that makes sense, we should be able to like raise at least 100,000. That was always kind of my goal. And just people like the Lin-Manuel Miranda's who tweeted it out, and Ben Stiller. These are people that follow me, and a lot of randomly they'll retweet stuff, and so they know that I'm a halfway decent person,
right?
And so I think it just kind of comes from that, and and then also when you support other people's work and things like that, I think it just builds up goodwill and makes it easier for other people to support you too.
Without question. So, but Matthew just dropped a major key there. I mean, for all the artists that are listening, they say like, the key to being a successful artist in this era is to have 5,000 true fans or 1,000 true fans, right? That's a fan that can give you $100 a year towards your art. So if you have 1,000, that's $100,000 that you have towards your art. So if you break it down that way, you can go directly to people, and that's why Patreon and Kickstarter is so valuable in terms of getting new ideas into the mainstream. Because I know if you had taken this idea, say, to Pixar, it might not be the same thing.
Oh, no, not at all. And I think that's really been just the most beautiful thing about this is that, I don't know, in a way it's like, wow, because it's like taking a pitch deck or like, okay, I have this idea for a movie, and you just put it out online, but you're also raising money for it simultaneously, and then that goes viral. So now you're like viral while you're also raising money and proving to people that it's a great idea and clearly showing that like there's a market here. You know what I mean? And yeah, like you said, if we would have pitched this to Pixar or Disney, somebody just straight up, they probably wouldn't have given us, a honest consideration. But I think now you can literally just like send somebody a link to the campaign and be like, look, almost $200,000 raised in 2 weeks, for this project about a black dad doing his daughter's hair. Like, maybe there's something here,
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I was going to say it seems to be a growing trend of people introducing ideas on social media and then having the following, having the surge of commentary about these great ideas, pushing them to actually come to fruition. And so we're glad you're riding that wave and that there are people who can invest in this and really make it happen for you, and we can all benefit from it.
Yeah, and another thing I think is important is that, this is my 3rd Kickstarter campaign. I've done 2 campaigns prior for both of my prior feature films. And so also I think there's just like this, collection of goodwill as well, in that people know that if I do a Kickstarter campaign, the movie's going to come out, you know, it's going to play at some major festivals, and they're going to get their gifts in return. And so, you know, I just think you continuously just kind of build up that trust. And so when you do try to go for the big one, you know, hopefully people just believe in you and they want to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the perks are amazing for as low. Well, you can donate $1, but starting at $40, you can get a Hair Love book. There's a Zuri doll, and I think I'm just going, like, you even have like one-on-one time with you via Skype, correct?
In a different
iPhone filmmaking workshop.
Yeah. So we've had like a really great team get involved with the project. You know, I have a great co-director, Jason Marino, who's a 3D artist that lives up in the Bay. You know, Frank Abney and Peter Ramsey, who are two of the kind of rare black animators working in this town at a major level. You know, Frank works at Pixar. He's actually working on Incredibles 2 right now.
Nice.
And then Peter Ramsey is working on a new animated Spider-Man movie that's going to focus around Miles Morales for Sony, and that's supposed to be coming out like late next year.
Woohoo!
And so, you know, just great artists like that in the mix. And so what we wanted to do was just also kind of like make it some level of educational as well. You know, also trying to make it a cool perk to kind of raise money with. And so Frank offered a animation workshop class, you know, for like 10 slides where he'll basically like be showing people how to animate footage and like kind of drawing stuff live. They can kind of answer questions. And, you know, then also for me, having shot a movie on an iPhone and just always trying to help make the filmmaking process more democratic and more accessible, you know, we thought it'd be a good idea to offer that as a potential perk as well, to kind of teach people how to make movies and larger content, you know, on their phones.
Wow. Well, I love what you're doing. Wow. You know, and I always say that it's so important, like film, the power of film is that it taps into your imagination, and we seldom get a chance to see any kind of animated rendition of ourselves that really reaches young people. So I think there's like 50 reasons why this thing is successful, but I mean, I want people that are listening now to realize that there's 12 days left, that you can actually be involved in helping to make this thing a reality. The more money that you make, the better production value, right? You're not just putting it all in your pocket, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. You know, I mean, look, animation is probably one of the most expensive mediums in filmmaking. You know, that's why a lot of times when you do see these movies like, you know, Finding Dory and Incredibles, like you see 1,000 names in the credits, you know, that's all man hours and different people that have to like work in various capacities to make these films happen. And so, you know, for Hair Love, you know, we're trying to get to at least 200,000 so that we just are able to just do it at a high level. You know, we want to have this film potentially be something worthy of playing in front of another animated feature film. And also something that could potentially be turned into a full-length feature film. And so, you know, just the better quality it is, the better for us to be able to kind of like keep it going and to do it on a bigger level.
That's right. And let us not forget that there is an Oscars category for short animation. So, you know, it's short film. So we want to, you know, kind of project that out there, because it would be wonderful to have this kind of story be able to capture that kind of award and just elevate the need for more of these stories to make their way into our consciousness.
Yeah, no, I mean, totally agree. You know, I mean, for me, it's bigger than a...
Whoops. He disappeared for a second. But I just want the doll. You know? I don't care. We talk every February about Oscars. I don't care about no Oscars. I want a black girl with black hair doll. I'm pledging my $65 today.
I love it. Well, I love the fact that her name is Zuri. I love Z names, just so those of you who didn't know. So the whole combination of it, I think, is a wonderful thing. And, you know, maybe it's like he's been up early. Maybe his phone was like, I've had enough.
I forgot to charge it. Well, yeah, we appreciate Matthew calling in. And I guess we'll have to talk about Black Star when we come back.
Indeed. We'll take our final commercial break of this hour, and then we'll come back and talk Black Star, invite everybody into a space where we are celebrating great independent films as they are coming into our world, that are all going to be gathered and presented to you right here in Philadelphia. So stay tuned for that.
What's up, y'all? This your man's Dwelle representing Detroit City, but I'm right here in Philly. When I'm in Philly, I'm checking out WURD.
on a side porch, a sleepy morning way out in the boondocks. Stories are being told on the red clay. Hey, red clay's where we came from to begin with, and where we're going when time comes for splitting. Sun's being dug on the red clay. Night, sleep tight, someone's playing something on backstage. The happy faces look out of the windows. Always something good on the red clay.
From his 1975 album, Mark Murphy Sings. That is the Blue-Eyed Soul crooner with a track called On the Red Clay that Dwele himself has sampled and has used for his live performance in Maida Vale with Miguel Atwood Ferguson and that orchestra. So, you know, Kayla J didn't know that when she hit that particular rejoiner for us to come back, that we were going to have that connectivity. But that's how it happens on this TGIF edition of The Mojo. And as we come back to conclude today's edition of Real Black Radio, we want to give you a primer, if you will, of some of the things that you should plan to see, or just really just reminding everybody in our listening audience that you need to be at Black Star.
Yeah, it's still amazing. Black Star's in the 6th year, and I still run across people that say, Black Star, what's Black Star?
I know, Philly residents who are like, what's Black Star?
And you're in this sort of, like, for those who know, they know.
Yes.
Black Star is a place to be next weekend, starting Thursday through Sunday.
Yes.
It's really an oasis if you're into you know, we're always talking about black film and black representation.
Of course.
This is 60 movies over the course of 3 days, and panels and workshops and food, and on Saturday marketplace, just all about celebrating us.
And people have such a good time. It has become one of the sort of black family reunion events here in Philadelphia. You know, I tell people, and I'm so sad that we cannot find this footage, but I got a chance to chat with Mahershala Ali 2 years ago. So this was at the beginning of, he had just finished shooting House of Cards season 4. And so this is long before Oscar buzz. This is long before the release of Moonlight. And, you know, and just amazing year that he had last year overall with the projects that he was involved in, Hidden Figures. But he was there, not because he was promoting himself. He was there because he was there with his wife, who is a DJ and a fashion designer who was on a panel. And so, you know, this whole idea of who you run into, in what capacity they are there. And they hung out. He hung out just because he was having a really great time.
Yeah, there's a lot of repeat business. People come back year after year. They may show a film this year, and then the next year they want to come back.
Come and hang out.
And you know, the fact the proximity between DC and New York also allows for a big cultivation of talent. You know, I can directly say that one relationship that was struck last year that led to a film that got made and premiered at Sundance. It's going to actually screen it at Black Star. So, you know, so just to go through some of the highlights, you know, and if you want tickets, blackstarfest.org is the way to go. Now, I strongly, if you have the time to be there, strongly suggest getting the full festival pass.
Are they still selling them?
The pass goes on sale until the 1st.
Okay.
And then after that, you can't get the pass anymore. So if you
have to buy individual screening tickets,
and that becomes harder because the pass gives you priority admission and different things like that. So, and
people do line up. This is another thing. If you have never been to Black Star before, understand that individual screenings and the short programs will sell out. But what people do is they, you know, get the festival program and they start checking off everything that they want to see. And so that whole idea about getting the priority seating, lining up, and getting in the theater.
Definitely need a breakout room for the Ava DuVernay conversation on Saturday.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like, I mean, I know Philly Cam's going to live stream it, but I hope they have a separate space set up just to handle the overflow, because you know, a lot of people are going to show up and they're not going to know the situation. So I'm telling folks now, You know, get your tickets early. Get there early. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be there most of the time. Thursday at 1:15 in the afternoon, Haile Garima, who's been on our show.
Yes.
He's unearthed a documentary that he shot in the 70s.
Woohoo!
Called Wilmington 10 USA 10,000. It's got a lot of rare footage, and they're going to premiere it.
And so for all of you who love Sankofa, those of you who know about how seminal that film has been for a discussion of black filmmaking, he's been molding minds on the campus of Howard University for years. So you get a chance to see his, some of this early work.
There's a black-made documentary about the Wilmington 10. You know, so this is and it opens the day before Detroit. So I strongly recommend you go watch Wilmington 10 and avoid the nonsense of Detroit, no matter what Rotten Tomatoes tells you. That movie is not healthy for anyone to see. And then, like I said, there's a lot of repeat business. So filmmaker Shala Amu is coming back with a short film called Dear Mr. Shakespeare. He had a feast thing. I forget. I'm blurry, but he's a British director. He's got a short film coming back. Also, Terrence Nance. He's been every year.
Yes,
the guy who did Oversimplification of Her Beauty.
And he fine. I just had to put that in there.
He's going to be at the opening reception performing.
Everybody has different motivation. I'm just letting folks know he's incredibly talented. He's also fine. He's lovely to look at.
Terrence is a genius, and I'm pause. Anyway.
Don't do that. Anyway, continue.
Well, Terrence has a new film called They Charge for the Sun, and Adepero Odoye from Pariah. She's directed a couple films already, short films. Her second short. She premiered her first short, I think, 2 years ago at Black Star. She's got a new one called To Be Free.
Nice.
She's also on a panel. As Matthew mentioned, Gabby Sidibe, she's for the first time directed a short film.
And I just need to let people know that I saw the film Yelling at the Sky featuring her and Zoe Kravitz at Black Star I guess that was 2 years ago. Yeah. Really moving film. And so, for those of you who just don't know a lot about the work that people are doing outside of their major Hollywood releases, that's one of those films where I was like, it's pulling at the heartstrings.
Yeah, Victoria Mahoney, yeah. And that's on Yelling at the Sky. Yelling to the Sky is on Netflix still. So, and Night Shift, Marshall Tyler, that's the movie I was talking about. Marshall was at the symposium, Black Star Symposium, and we're sitting eating lunch, and Eric Branco was there, and he's the DP, and next thing you know, I see them both hanging out in Park City. They made a film together and called Night Shift, which stars the lead guy from TV on the radio.
The networking capabilities are significant, but I'm going to say this out loud, and this is not to disparage any individual. If you network at Black Star, have your stuff together. Be prepared to show people the work that you do. If you're an actor, if you are a director, whatever the case is, be prepared to have a body of work that you are ready to share with folks, to show them, kind of what your intentions are, what your approach is, so that when you collect cards and engage people in conversation, they can actually step forward with you and create new works. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's I feel in 6 years there's certainly going to be some stratification. Like, the more you come, the more you see the same faces, and I'm not going to name drop, but there's certain people that are there every year, even if they have a film or not.
Yes.
And over time, you just build familiarity. So if you've never been, you may feel a sense of outsiderness, but I think everybody there, it's such a small festival that everybody's super approachable. And yeah, if you have your stuff ready, like you got your movie on YouTube and you shoot somebody a link, you never know what's going to happen. I think that's the whole purpose of what Mayore's doing, is just trying not only to, it's sort of an offshoot of what Black Lily was about. It's just sort of like exposing people to really talented stuff that's outside of the mainstream, and then you have this added layer of blackness.
Yeah.
You know, so
and they really are beautiful films. The overall theme for Black Star this year is resistance, and it manifests itself in a number of different ways with the way that these programs have been put together. So if you've never been, this is a year to come and just kind of immerse yourself and see what Black Star is all about. For those of you who have been, understand the role that this festival plays in bringing great people who love film and who are involved in film together for the purpose of networking and showcasing and hopefully creating the next wave of films that they can feature next year. So be a part of that.
And like Matthew said, you know, a lot of these things, the short films are experimental, but so many of the people have gone on to bigger things, you know. So Bradford Young, who's a DP with Ava DuVernay, Selma, he was Oscar nominated for The Arrival. Yeah. They're going to show his short film he did with Common called Black America Again. Now that's freely available on YouTube, but you get to see it on the big screen. Yeah. And you know, he's somebody that was identified very early on by Black Star. There are a lot of people that were identified, like you said, Mahershala was there early. You know, you never know how these seeds are going to grow.
That's
and
right.
And then also the ideas that you see in the short films.
And I was going to say, our good buddy James Samuel and Michael K. Williams came to promote They Die by Dawn. So, I mean, it's just... for those people who like to talk back to the screen, and I love seeing our images on the screen, this is a place to do it. You can fully surround yourself with great quality film of all different genre, of all different kinds of creative approaches for 4 days right here in our city. Yeah,
so blackstarfest.org, O-R-G is the website. All the schedules are there. Get your tickets now. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exhausting. And you're gonna see things that are gonna change the way you perceive like the art and yourself, hopefully. You know, it's really good stuff.
We got to say goodbye, but I want to let folks know that we are actually working towards being able to take this show on the road and broadcast live from Black Star next Friday. So we just don't have that confirmed yet. We will let you all know on social media and all of our various web properties as soon as we have that confirmed. But the idea is that if you like this Mutt and Jeff that we do each Friday.
Who's Mutt?
I don't remember because that's that.
All right,
I didn't see the cartoon. It's just tall and short.
Oh, I guess I'm the tall one.
Ideally that we will be able to do this on the road and broadcast live from Black Star next week. So stay tuned for more information about that. Stop by the broadcast table and say hello if we can do that. But thank you as always for the great content, Brother Dennis.
Just say no to drugs. Stay in school. Only you can promote.
And we forgive him for his girls trip hateration.
Go see Girls Trip. It's not going to kill you.
That
like
too.
Detroit.
Sisters, look at me. Understand? I'm telling you, you're going to have a good time.
I'd rather you see Girls Trip than Detroit.
I know churchy folks that Mike would have thought were going to be alienated from this film.
I'd rather you see Girls Trip than Confederacy.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a conversation for next week.
You'll have to save that one. But.
Goodbye, everybody checking us out on Facebook Live. For those of you listening live on the air, we're going to take a quick break and come back with hour 3 of today's TGIF edition of The Mojo.